The Netherlands, one of the most notable nations to ever exist. But how did the original republic form? Today, we dive deep into the remarkable journey of the rise of the Dutch Republic, from rebellion to global power, uncovering the historical events, triumphs, and challenges that shaped the rise of this influential nation, leaving an indelible mark on the world stage. In the early 17th century, a small nation in Europe would rise to become a global power. This is the story of the Dutch Republic, a tale of rebellion, resilience, and extraordinary entrepreneurial spirit. This ambivalence was perhaps typical for the relationship between England and the Dutch Republic throughout the early modern age, and was first reflected in the attitude of Queen Elizabeth when dealing with the once rebel state. Formally, the Dutch Republic became independent in 1588, but effectively, the provinces, led by the Prince of Orange, were by 1572 in full rebellion against their overlord, Philip II, for whom the Dutch provinces were but one part of his extensive Spanish Habsburg Empire. Of these, the 7 northerly provinces finally broke with Philip II in 1581. The provinces in the south were granted formal independence under the archdukes, but remained tied to Spain. Elizabeth, conscious of English vulnerability in the face of Spanish power, conducted a cautious foreign policy. She sympathized with the Dutch Protestants, but naturally loathed rebellion. And when she was offered sovereignty by the Dutch in 1585, she politely refused. However, the Spanish, besieging Antwerp, threatened to overrun the northern provinces, and thus formed a potential strategic threat to England. Their successes, moreover, might encourage Catholics in England and endanger English trade with the Low Countries. On August 20th, 1585, the Dutch provinces and England concluded the Treaty of Nonsuch, the first pact with a European state the Dutch ever concluded. However, the rise of the Dutch Republic was not without its challenges. Engaging in numerous wars, such as the 80 Years' War and conflicts with European powers, tested its resilience. The Queen decided to send an expeditionary force under the Earl of Leicester in support of the Dutch rebels. In response, Philip sent his armada in 1588 to punish England and squash the rebellion once and for all. As it was, the Dutch continued their struggle against the Spanish in the 80 Years' War until 1648. The English monarchs would continue to patronizingly remind the Dutch of their support for independence. Despite facing setbacks, the Dutch Republic continued to flourish. Its naval power and influence extended across the globe, leaving an indelible mark on world history. The Dutch Republic quickly became an economic powerhouse, thanks to its strategic location and bustling trade routes. Amsterdam became the center of a global trading empire, attracting merchants from far and wide. The Dutch East India Company was established, paving the way for Dutch dominance in the lucrative spice trade in Asia. However, England emerged in 1713 as a global power. The Dutch were financially exhausted. Throughout most of the 18th century, accordingly, the Dutch state was no longer able to maintain its status as a great power. The balance of power was maintained by the so-called pentarchy: England, France, Prussia, Russia, and Austria. And the Dutch Republic pursued a prudent foreign policy of neutrality or aloofness, unless assured of the firm backing of England. Overall, Anglo-Dutch relations remained cordial. Testimony to this: the Dutch offered military assistance to the Hanoverians when confronted with Jacobite rebellions in 1713 and 1745. English troops aided the Dutch in 1747, when attacked by France in the War of the Austrian Succession, and intervened on behalf of the Dutch government in 1787, when confronted with the Patriot Rebellion. Only in 1780 did relations temporarily cool down when the Dutch insisted on continuing to trade with the rebellious American colonies, thus prompting the English to declare a war that lasted until 1784. Yet all in all, despite commercial rivalry and occasional naval conflict, the Dutch Republic and England maintained remarkably friendly relations throughout the early modern age. In the end, the Dutch were able to maintain their independent state while shrinking down the scope of the Republic's reach to maintain their country's sovereignty. Thank you for watching this video on the rise of the Dutch Republic. If you enjoyed learning about this fascinating period in history, be sure to subscribe to our channel for more engaging content.